2-ton, 2.5-ton truck with a box sitting on it. Well, this box, I'm about to- I seen a man come up there the other day. He had a 18 wheel. Lucky bring the whiskey down here in, back and forth. One of them tankers. Full of wit, fill that up full of slop. That's a lot of slop. I don't tell how long he was sitting up there to fill that thing up, because it don't pump that fast. Well, he's probably up there a good hour and a half filling that up. It's got two sections in it. Because it got that, what do you call that thing in between it? It keeps the, yeah. And once it fill up one, that end, it close off and fill up the rest of it. I guess it keep it distributed on the tires, right? Yeah, so when it slosh, it'll be just as even. I just work on all the route. I don't know. It's unsafe to me. I bet you that wasn't no. I bet you that was automatic. Wasn't no manual nothing about that big truck. It's pretty too. I don't know. I about want to say it's that boy. What's his name up here? One Chevy. That referee to come over here. One Debbie married to Lois. I will say some of that family. And every time I see them come in, they get that truck. I've met it before coming out from 82. I think they live back over in that well in the Flat Creek. Is it raining when y'all come in?
I'm not on the same page.
The storm, it's already done hit Nashville. 60-mile-an-hour wind. And they said it was at the top end of that Millville, and it was coming down. There was no catch. It was going to go right across Tullahoma, top of Tullahoma. Right down. Like a little day. Prognosis.
Not no bad thing. I know. I've been having CT scanning today. Uh-huh.
Where you go for that?
No, the technology imaging.
Oh, my goodness.
No, actually.
Going the other way.
Behind, I guess on the side.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed that.
I did too. I ate this morning at 5 o'clock. And then I had to drink something when I got there.
This time, they always ask to make sure you don't have no metal on that nose. But Steph's got a bridge in behind the front teeth, like a metal bridge. And I said, what are you gonna do about that? I said, your teeth gonna be stuck up to the end of the machine the whole time? No. He said, don't worry about it. I guess there wasn't enough metal in there to mount to anything. I was actually that through. You don't have to.
They just make it up.
Yeah, you know, they most of the time, you know.
What they did is turn the power down, so it won't be so.
You saying like the power went down? I don't know.
All I heard was that talking. That's all I could hear. Did y'all know that one in the Preston? Pastor one in the day. I mean, they very heard of it.
No, Joe Young was down there.
Oh, I said.
Little girls down here. Is that that little office there?
No, Carl Young was down there. Yeah.
I know Richard Logan on that graveside.
Don't tell me they right in your email.
I don't know what. I didn't ask.
In your email. I need you in your email. No, you can send it somebody free.
That's probably. I thought this is going to be album. How about behind that church? Beside the church. His daddy's still living. Well, what about the moms? I know it's just a real deal. That fan, but I didn't know about the moms.
Are they hiring any college youth for the summer?
They did. I think they did. They had, I know they had Oscars for Daniel, the intern, in the engineering. He's an engineering
You
intern.
got it on the website to apply. So don't, just reach out to the door and everything.
And they had a little girl from Winchester, I think. She's the engineer. That's really all I want anyway. And I had one little girl last year, but I didn't see her this time. That was doing our environmental engineering. It's got an E and G on the end. They like to see. Come down there and intern. If there's anything else, you get on the grass crew with this. The trailer, that's the project trailer. That's what they get ready to start redoing our building. It's gonna be a hot mess. It's gonna be a hot mess.
Got that me?
Oh, no, man. When they start turning that wall, we're making that yes, let's go see how they're gonna do that. I'm gonna be impressed. I want to see that.
Hey, y'all do.
That's what they did, that shut down, and probably end up having to. A lot of things, decide what they're working on. Decide to make some moves.
Started on Bible study. Talking about Polish school, 53. 53. I keep falling in love with you. No, 53. I keep falling in love with them over and over and over and over again. I keep falling in love with them over and over and over again. It gets sweeter and sweeter as the days go by. Oh, what a love between my Lord and I keep falling in love with him over and over again. He keeps blessing me over and over again. He keeps blessing me over and over again. It gets sweeter and sweeter. Oh, what a love between my Lord and I keep falling in love with him over and over again. He keeps cleansing me over and over again. He keeps cleansing me over and over again. It gets sweeter and sweeter as they go by. Oh, what a love between my Lord and I keep falling in love with him over and over again. Again, thank you for another day. The day we have made for us to enjoy in prayer and Father, we have enjoyed it. Let's pray on Father, even for all of you, be the God, pray for us, especially those in the household of faith. We pray for the sick among us, those who are not sick yet, those who stand in need of prayer this evening. We pray on Father, be thy will, restore them back to the more former we did. We pray for those who are less fortunate. We got. Let's pray, Heavenly Father, continue to bless them. Let's pray, Heavenly Father, they will look and see where their blessings coming from. And they will pray, Heavenly Father, you will build them a faith to know that you take care of them. We pray, Heavenly Father, for those who are outside the ark of safety this evening. We're not asking you to save them in their unbound condition, but spare them a space of time and come to thee. Repent, be saved for their life and come to life. We pray, Heavenly Father, for the church of Christ, and you continue to bless us, that we can grow strong in your word, that we can hold on to the end, Heavenly Father, that we be ready to receive our crown one day. We pray, this evening, they pray on the Father, they will have a safe trip without their home. We pray on the Father, we do things decent and order, please, and that's that. Jesus Christ, last all is blessed. Amen.
Sister Susan, man, you gotta fail. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. What page are we on tonight, y'all? On page 41. Okay. Then I had to write one more. Thank you. At page 41. Okay, bro, Chris kind of went back over what we had already discussed previous, and I think stopped at number 3. And so we stopped there again. And so we're gonna pick up where we left off, and hopefully, bro, Chris will be back in time to talk about this stuff called the rapture. Because I'm real interested in hearing that. But just to let you know, since I've been studying ahead a little bit, and I think it's over on page chapter 12, we're going to talk about the rapture of this book. And I think it's on over here. Let's see. In case you want to skip ahead a little bit and kind of look at it. It's over on page 96, which is chapter 12. And so we'll be getting into what the rapture, a discussion about the rapture. But the reason why I want to know about it so much is that I've got a lot of people. There's 3 people. We all been talking about that rapture, and I want a better way to explain it. And I didn't want to get into no heated discussion with anybody without not knowing my stuff. I like to know it way ahead of time. So that's why I asked him about it before. But we know that there's no such thing as a rapture. And I know that to be true because I've been taught it, and also I've studied it, but I don't know it well enough that I can defend that. And you got some that are real smart about debating, and they can make you say something you don't want to say. Or you say something and then you didn't really mean for it to sound that way either. So that's the reason why I would like to know more about it. That was one of 2 reasons why I wanted us to study the book of 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, because there's a lot of meat in these 2 chapters. These two books, I mean, 1st and 2nd books. Okay. Number 3, it says, be informed about how to live in light of Jesus' second coming. So what did we talk about last week about Jesus' second coming? What I'm trying to get to. Will be a thief in the night. Okay. See about that rapture, the rapture is supposed to be everything is done in secret. And the people that are Christians are gonna leave first. Jesus is supposed to come get them, and then he's gonna come get them, the dead second. And that's not true, not according to what we've been studying here just these past couple of weeks. Out of here, we know that's not true. So see, that just refuted that part right there. That's right. The dead in Christ will rise first. And is there something else that's gonna happen before that? That all eyes are gonna be on him. And all the dead in Christ will rise. And then gonna be a shout. Okay. And I like that part about it, all eyes will be on him. You say, well, how's that gonna happen? I don't know. That's what the Bible says. That's what I believe. Anything, there's nothing too tough for the Lord. So that's gonna happen. Starting in this chapter. It's in when it's in 2 Corinthians. Let's see here. What'd you say, Dave? I'll find that for you. I know it's in here because I've read it. I don't know how many times. You know where it is, Sister Annette?
I'm trying to.
It's in like 3 or 4 different places. I think Revelation 1:7 in one place. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. That's in Revelation 1:7. I think in Matthew 24 and 30. If I ain't mistaken, let me look and make sure that's right. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of earth mourn. They shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And then you going back to the book of Daniel too. I can't remember that far back. I think it's like the 13th, 14th, and 15th chapter, somewhere in there. It talks about everybody seeing him. I think there's one more place too. Let me do this before I go any further, get this off my chest. Make sure it's the right place. Let's see. No, I was thinking about something else. If anybody else can think of any other places, I know there's more than one. There's like several different places where it talks about all eyes will be on him. sin.
I look at Matthew 24,
Mm-hmm.
verse 30.
Yeah.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of the heaven with power and great glory.
Yeah.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of the trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. They do right there several references.
Yeah, there is. I can.
It's just one that here's a list of, so, when you see that, it's saying on page 42.
Yeah, I seen that. It says for the Bible, first the Bible teaches that Jesus will not be invisible at his second coming. Rather, he will be seen and witnessed by every eye. Revelations 1:7, Acts 1:9-11, 2 Thessalonians 1:7, and that's got to be 1 Timothy, because I don't think there's but 5 chapters in 2 Timothy. So that don't look right. 6 and 14, it might have been 5 and 14. And then Titus 2 and 13. Because I know there's not in 2 Timothy, there's not 5 chapters last time I looked. Might be more less than that. Yeah, 4 chapters. I think it's 5 in 1 Timothy and only 6 in 1 Timothy and only 4 in 2. It says here, inspiration repeatedly warns Christians to live carefully. And that's coming from Ephesians 5:15, challenging them to walk, i.e. live, in the light. Ephesians 5:5. Was that 1 Thessalonians 5:5? And also verse 8. And then 1 John 1:5. And then Ephesians 5:8-14. It says the opposite of walking in the light is to walk in darkness. And I believe we talked a little bit about that last week. Also, those that walked in the light did what? That's what we are, right? That means we do everything by the book. We're obedient to Christ. We live a day-to-day godly life, not just on a Sunday and a Wednesday night, but it's a daily walk. But if we were walking in darkness, it talked about the drunkard, right? Last week, I think we did. Talked about a drunk. Drunk people live by the night, and then all wickedness and everything that goes on that's usually bad usually happens during the nighttime. We got this morning, there was like 15 people dead just overnight. And see, one girl got stabbed at a hotel in Nashville, and then that boy got killed down in New Orleans. And then somebody else, I forget, it was several of them. And then it was a whole bunch of them all at once. It was 5 up in Chattanooga that got killed. And it just seems like every day you wake up, there's just something bad doesn't happen this night. Okay, they said the metaphor of darkness is used to characterize the life of wickedness lived by those who do not know God and are not saved. And that's from Colossians 1:13 and 1 Peter 2:9. It says, accordingly, Paul made several suggestions to the Thessalonian Christians on how they should live in light of Jesus' second coming. to ask you, how do you think we should live in light of Jesus' second coming? That first one says we should do what? We should always be prepared. It said Paul instructed the Thessalonian Christians to walk as sons of light by warning them not to sleep as others do. And that was in 1 Thessalonians 5 and 6. And what is that? What is that? Anybody want to read that right quick?
Never let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober.
And what is that sleep referring to? We talked about that last week. Mm-hmm. Or it says, i.e., indifference, and suggests being alert and cautious. Also, it is used repeatedly in the New Testament in connection with Jesus' second coming. Matthew 24 and 24, 25 and 25, Mark 13 and 44. And the word sober is translated from a word conveying the idea of temperance or self-control. And so we talked about that a couple of lessons ago about us being in control of ourselves. Right? Self-control. And so that means I can't pop off at the mouth anytime I want to. I've got to always be mindful of what I say and what I do and how I act. Doesn't always work all the time, but it's supposed to try. And some people know how to push the button, I guess, but we got to have a way to react to those people who you know are going to try to do that to you. That's a work in progress. To be honest with you, that's a big work in progress. Because before you know it, your tongue will take over, or your mind can never react to it. Okay, and third, Paul challenged the church at Thessalonica to arm themselves. Somebody want to read 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 8 right quick? Where it says, but let us who is of the day be sober.
Who are of the day, sober, putting on their spirit of faith, love, and for shelter, hope, salvation.
Is that it? Okay. That's good. So you can think of yourself as being a person that is, that breastplate is like a suit of armor for you. And as Paul was so vividly describing this, that we should always work to protect ourselves. And if you don't have a breastplate on and somebody comes to stab you, what's going to happen? If you have it on, it's going to protect you. But if you don't have it on and somebody stabs you, it might kill you. So it says here, the imagery of the soldier's armor is often used by Paul. He used it in Romans 13, 12, 2 Corinthians 6 and 7, 10 and 4, Ephesians 6 and 13. It says, it is interesting that as Paul closed this epistle, he coupled the Christian's armor with the same triad of virtues, faith, love, and hope, with which he began the epistle in 1 Thessalonians 1 and 3. And he encouraged the Thessalonians to put on the armor, Aorist tents, which I have no clue what that is. Do you know what that is, Annette? Good. Aorist tents, communicating the idea of a decisive and definitive act. So, putting on a breastplate or putting on the armor as he described here, is an action that that's an action for us to take. Not something that we just wear at all times. That was work to having that breastplate on at all times to protect ourselves and to always be ready, not only for the coming of the Lord, but also to defend his word. And I'm going to read that 8. I'm going to read number 8 again and see if that makes more sense. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, the hope of salvation. And for God hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ. So we're going to have to work hard at all times to not only protect ourselves, because I see that as protection. And I'm going to read here and see if it means anything else in my study Bible, because as far as this guy who wrote this book right here, it might mean something different than what I'm trying to explain. I don't want to mislead anybody. Give me a second here, and I'll tell you. Nope, I need that right. In my reference down here, I wrote down, in contrast, what unbelievers do, the Christians should be sober, living a disciplined life, not only free from drunkenness, but alert to spiritual realities. The believer should put on the breastplate of faith. Here again is the familiar triad of faith, hope, and love, the basic essentials of Christian life, in contrast to the unbelief of the world. It's love of self and material wealth. It says Christians should place their faith in God and give their love to God and to other people. In addition to demonstrating faith and love, Christians should adopt the hope of salvation and live in the light of the Lord's return. That was just a little bit different than what I said. Okay. Anybody or question on that? All right. It says, hence Paul was not making a suggestion, but rather giving a directive. Also, it is of interest that the pieces of armor chosen by Paul are defensive in nature. That's where I got that protection. Suggesting his concern was that the Christians at Thessalonica not be surprised by the Lord's return. Now, since it said that reminds me, do we remember why Paul was writing them or speaking to them in the first place about this? We studied that before. It was talking about the second coming of the Lord, and what did the Thessalonians believe from that second coming? What were they believing? They were concerned about the brothers that were going to be dead. But he had already talked to them about this before. And so now he's going back through it with them and encouraging them once again about this matter and to not be surprised, but to be prepared when the Lord returns. They have to be prepared themselves. So you see where it's going? That makes a whole lot of sense now. And the fourth one on page 42 up there, Paul warned the Thessalonian brothers to remember the wrath of God. Later, Paul reminded them that God's wrath is prepared and waiting for those who are not prepared for the second coming of Jesus, or those who refuse to submit to God's will. Now, somebody want to read 1 Thessalonians 1 and 10, and then somebody get 2 Thessalonians 1, 8 through 9. And I'm going to get 1 Thessalonians 5 and 9. I think I just read that though. For God had not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ. Now, somebody want to read 1 Thessalonians 1 and 10? It's going to say pretty much the same thing.
Verse Thessalonians, and to wait for his son from heaven to be raised from the dead, even Jesus, which delivered us from the wrath to come.
Okay. And then 2 Thessalonians 1, 8 and 9.
And flaming fire taking vengeance on them that know not God, and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. Everlasting destruction from the presence of the Lord, and from the glory of his power.
Okay. So what is that? What is that all that together? What is that saying? That we're prepared. If we're prepared, that means we're living the life that Christ meant for us to live, right? And so we're going to prepare. We're prepared for his coming, or we should be, shouldn't we? I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you I don't want to die no time soon, but if the Lord decides to come and take me, I feel like I'm prepared. I'm prepared. You know, I think I've done what I need to do. And I study God's word.